We are here. We are going to talk about today. We are going to talk about domestic violence and abuse. Is that what you would consider it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely hits that category.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the reason we're doing this today is to hopefully help somebody who, is going through something and maybe they're unsure of themselves if they're being abused. Maybe they're unsure or they don't know what else to do or how to do it. So I have Zen here today. I've spoken with her before. She's my therapist. I've spoken with her before. Uh, she knows everything about me, and we're learning some more about her today. And we're just going to hope that if somebody's suffering or uncertain or doesn't know what to do, then maybe you're going to hear something that she has to say, and it will help you. That is what my whole channel is going to be about: is helping people figure life out when we don't know what to do. So, okay. So, the first question I'm going to ask you is, how did you meet this man? When? How?
We were actually kids. We lived in the same neighborhood when, I don't know, he was 2 years older than me. I was like sixth grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we just got really close. We would walk home from school together, and he was just this really, really sweet kid. Who lived in a house that terrorized him. His father was awful. And when we were kids, he would sneak out of the house in the middle of the night because his dad, was on another rampage or whatever. And he would come knock on my window, and I'd call on my window, and we'd sit in my driveway for hours just so that he didn't have to go home, and that was kind of how we met, but then our lives separated. We went different ways. I didn't see him again 10 years later.
So around 16 years old.
Well,
sixth grade you were in.
Sixth grade. Yes.
Okay. So, okay.
So like we were, I don't know, 11, and then around early 20s is when I saw him again. And I didn't actually see him. He was a rapper and a singer, and I was working at LensCrafters at the time, and the lab manager was playing this CD, and it was him. It was him, and then in it, he like gives a shout out to me. Oops. He shouts me out and says something. And
you just happen to hear this.
Yeah, and I just happened to hear it again, and I was like, oh my god, how do you know that? Blah 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 blah. Then we met again, and that's kind of how things took off.
Now, when you had 10 years apart, did somebody move?
No, we were still both. I don't know. I think we just hung out in different groups.
Okay. So there was no issues.
No. We hung out in different groups. Oh, and then he did go to prison for a little while. So I guess there's that.
Do you know why he went to prison?
I don't. The way he tells the story is his girlfriend at the time got pregnant. They wanted to do an abortion. She gave him the codes to her parents' safe and stuff so that he could steal the money. He went in, stole the money, but they caught him. So he was young, like 17, 18, and he was tried as an adult. And he went to prison. I don't really remember how many years. It was a few years, but yeah, I don't even know how long he had been out of prison before I saw him again. Now that I didn't really ask that many questions, apparently.
Yeah, no, and I ask a million, so that's what I do.
Yeah. It was kind of one of those things where you get swept up in it was meant to be, and da, 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 like, oh, blah blah blah. Yeah, it just all the,
Oh yeah, the young
yeah,
butterflies.
yeah, and of course he, you know, fed me everything that I wanted to hear. He uh, didn't mind that I was a successful woman and I was going to school, and he would stay home, take care of my daughter, help, blah blah blah, because he had a criminal record. It was harder back then to get a job. And he would take care of the house and just be completely domesticated, and like everything that I wanted and needed in
sure.
my, because I had my own daughter that was disabled, and I was trying to go to school. I was trying to work full time. I was trying to do all the things and take care of her. It was hard to juggle. So he really just kind of fed me the lines that I needed to hear, and yeah, I just got swept up in that.
Easy to do.
Yeah.
Very easy to do. So you were in your early 20s
Yeah.
at this time, and he's living with you?
Well, you know what? Maybe actually it was longer, because I was in my late 20s, actually, because my daughters were born, my later daughters were born in 2006 and 2010. So I think I had them at like 28 and 30.
Okay.
So yeah, it was later.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know.
No, it's good. The details are great because it puts people in they can sort of vision what's going on.
Yeah. He quickly, like as most abusers do, they need the U-Haul in the driveway as soon as possible, because like their persona is pretend, right? And the faster they trap you, the faster they can let go of that fake persona that they put forth. So yeah, it was really quick. Um, I within a month probably we were living together, and um, what's that? Oh my gosh. You're asking me about things that happened 20 years ago.
I know, but I know we're going to say to help somebody, so we gotta do it.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to. I guess doesn't really matter if all the details are. I think I actually got pregnant first, but I got pregnant right away.
From him?
Yes, from him.
Okay, so you do have a child from him.
I have two.
Two, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, because getting pregnant is what solidified it and kind of got me nice and trapped in that situation.
Do you think that was his intention also, to trap you in that sense of like, I know if I get her pregnant, I got her?
Potentially. He has, I don't even know how many children. Like he just continues to have children. So I don't know. I think he's just careless. It may be deliberate, because it is, a woman is a lot easier to control. Like if all you have to do is fight to get yourself out, that's fairly easy. But if you have to fight to get you and a couple helpless kids out, that's a lot harder to find your way out.
I think that's why so many people stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard.
Yeah. I He was absolutely awful, like pretty quickly. Like it didn't matter that I was pregnant. He would beat the crap out of me. It did not faze him at all.
Do you remember the first time that you said, "Oh my God, this is not a good place for me to be"? Do you remember the first time he even did anything to you? Like the first smack or the first name, like.
I remember the first one before he moved in with me. And it was one of those, I should have, it was just he kind of grabbed me and pushed me off the stairs. It was just a couple of steps, but he was, very aggressive about it. And I remember thinking that I should put an end to that, but I didn't for some reason. Because I wanted the dream, right? The dream that he was selling me. And it, they don't typically, or I say they, abusive men, it seems like that it builds up, right? Until they got you, then, all hell breaks loose. But um, they just, or he would just let little things slip where he would just be just slightly aggressive, but not really, not enough that you would necessarily run away if you come from an abused background.
And did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Yes.
Okay,
so
that part I didn't know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So abuse is common to you.
Yeah. So the little aggression that he would display didn't seem all that out of place.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense.
I think the first time I remember him really, really beating the crap out of me was my daughter was born, and I was breastfeeding her, and he got angry, and he just he just started choking me while I was breastfeeding my daughter. And basically I had a choice: drop my daughter or fight him off. So I just like held her, like, and kind of holding his hand, trying to relieve as much pressure as possible, and just prayed that he would let go. He did somehow let go long enough for me to put her down. But then he just started beating the crap out of me, and actually um, pulled me by the hair and threw me outside into the snow in my nursing bra, and locked me out of the house, and with him and my daughter inside. Um, that's the first one I really remember.
Now, when he did that, were you afraid to? I know you're afraid. I'm sure you're afraid of him, but were you afraid to go, like, try to get back in? Were you afraid he was going to hurt the baby while the baby was in there?
Oh, like, yeah, all of the above.
Pounding, like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. And then I started to go across the street to the neighbors to like get a phone or get help of some, and of course he opened the door. Of course he did. Yeah,
don't bring anybody else into this. Yeah.
But yeah, but see, the thing I think that kept me in that relationship for as long as I was in it was pride. It was my pride. I would not ask for help. I was determined that I was going to find a way to get us out. I was going to figure it out. I would try to leave. I tried different combinations of things, and it didn't matter. I would even like kick him out and move, and he would find my house, and then break in, and just like to let me know that like I couldn't get away from him.
So you did get away.
I would try. And he broke into every single house or apartment I ever had.
Was he stalking you, or did somebody tell him where you were, or you don't even know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Did he like break your skin? Like, was he like it's all abuse, I know, but like, was he so bad that he like, you know, left you black and blue and
oh, he was very proud of how
secretive,
strategic
okay,
he was.
so he had it planned out very well. Okay.
Like he would hit me on the top of the head, because if he actually told me one time why he did that, because I would have to shave my head to reveal any injuries to me, which is weird. The top of the head is really hard. You would think that was hurting him, but I guess he didn't care.
He wasn't playing the full deck, obviously.
Oh no, yeah, he would do things like he just would terrorize me. Like I remember one night he just got upset. I don't even remember why, but he pulled a knife, like a butcher knife, out of the kitchen, and he was holding me up against the wall and had the knife to my throat and just was sitting there with this smirk on his face telling me to just go ahead, try to do something. And my three daughters at that time were asleep, in their rooms, and that was something that again, pride, I guess. When he would be, he knew. I think he knew that the line with me was gonna be if he put hands on me in front of my kids and they could see it. So it would always be in the middle of the night. He would terrorize me, kind of thing.
Would it just start out of the blue? Like, would you just be like laying in bed and all of a sudden he gets mad and like whacks you, or did you say something to piss him off? Like,
It would be all of the above. Sometimes, like for in the beginning at least, I didn't have the ability to shut up.
Gotcha.
When I probably should have to protect myself. And uh, but then there would be other times where he would just interpret weird things, or he would come home drunk, or uh, yeah, just all kinds of stuff like that. I don't know. It was weird. There was something wrong with
Right.
him,
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say something, but I don't
I'm so
remember.
sorry.
Why?
I cut you off.
Oh, no, no, no,
No,
no.
okay.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Oh, I think I was just gonna like, there was some times that I specifically remember. Um, like one night I tried. The girls were in bed, and I decided that I would just try to run, and I would come back for them in the morning or whatever when I had help. And what this lovely man did was, he got the girls out of bed, sat them in the middle of the living room, called me, and I could hear them crying. And he said, they're just gonna sit there until you come back here, you know. And that's just the kind of shit that he would do. Um, yeah, he was not. That was a long 5 years. It was a long 5 years.
I don't even know how you did it for 5 years. You probably don't either. I mean,
Yeah, I fought for a long time. I there was a lot. I remember a period of time where I would just, at the time I smoked cigarettes, and I would smoke in my bedroom at the window. Um, and I would just stare out that window trying to figure out how to get out. Like just, and, but I was still not willing to ask for help.
yeah.
And that there was no getting out. I had a disabled daughter and two really small children. I wasn't going to be able to fight my way out of that house. There was no way to get out without help.
Right.
But my pride wouldn't allow me to tell anybody what was happening to me. Because I was a strong, successful woman. I was educated. These kinds of things don't happen to me. And I just was completely unwilling to ask for help. It's really strange now.
When you look back at it?
Yeah.
Were you estranged from your family or no?
Yes, because my mom, she freaking hated him from the beginning, and she eventually, I think, just there was nothing else she could do. She didn't know exactly what was going on, but she knew that he was not. She didn't like him,
Yeah.
but she eventually actually came here because my brother is in the military and got stationed at Fort Irwin. She came out here to live with my brother, and while we were still back, we were in Illinois, but on the other side of the river from St. Louis, not Chicago area,
Okay.
down south. Um, yeah, she left and came here, and so I didn't have any family support over there because she just was basically like, if you want that guy in your life, then whatever, I'm done, kind of thing.
I wash my hands of you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I fought for a long time. Um, kind of,
Mhm.
because I was, especially when the girls got the smaller girls got to the age where they could walk and like get out of bed themselves and
Mhm.
stuff. Um, when he would beat me up, I wouldn't make a sound. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't react. I just let him hit me because I just, more than anything in the world, I did not want them to hear something and come out. Oh,
It's okay.
yeah, I didn't think.
All right.
Yeah. So I would just let him hit me and in silence, and um, just to keep them from seeing.
Absolutely.
And then also keeping them from getting wrapped up in the middle,
Absolutely.
of
You
it.
don't know what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, he's already shown all kinds of different behaviors that say their well-being is not his priority.
Right.
Yeah. About 3 years in, though, I I don't remember if he lived with me or not. I think he probably did live with me, but like I said, he was kind of a local celebrity.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't kind of. He was a local celebrity.
Okay.
His group. He was actually very. It's actually kind of sad because he was extremely talented. Really talented rapper and singer. So they would go out and do shows, and he would come back all drunk and high and all the things. And one night, I poked the bear too much because I was, I think, accusing him of cheating, probably, which he did frequently. So but I poked him too much because when he came home, yeah, he did live with me actually, because when he came home, he just flipped out, and he beat me up so bad that night. He used to have this steel pipe, like a I don't know, one, is that one? I don't, my spatial perception. Yeah, one, like just a like dowel, but it was solid steel that he had by his little chair, um, for protection. It was what he always said, but he got a hold of that. He had me pinned to the floor, and he was kneeling on my arms, and he was taking the pipe and just smashing me over the head with this pipe. I remember I remember why won't you just trust me? Like, he was just um, over and over again. I don't know if I maybe I did lose consciousness. I remember thinking in my head when he was saying that, though, like, well, because you're not you're because you cheat, like, obviously I didn't say that at that time. But Yeah, and police ended up getting called.
Mm-hmm.
He went.
Did you call the police or did somebody here?
Oh,
because you were quiet. You said you were quiet.
This time, I was not.
Okay. Okay.
I was screaming for help, and I don't know. There was actually a girl that was a friend, but not really a friend, that was there, and she got involved a little bit, but she was able to escape and run out the door. Okay. So I think maybe she called the police. Okay. I don't really know, yeah. Or a neighbor or whatever.
But you were loud enough that somebody heard that you needed help. Okay.
Yeah, and so they came, and he went to jail and all of that. And of course, when they asked me what kind of punishment I wanted him to have, I was like, I just want him to, anger management and therapy and like all of those things, because I understood why he was broken. You know what I mean? I understood where that evilness came from. Sure, it was
his family. Right?
Yeah. So,
and kids do what they see, unless they've been taught otherwise. But I mean, they just sort of follow suit.
Yeah. So I that didn't work out very well. But that was really gnarly. He was out of the house for a while, but I remember the day he got back in. There was this guy that he was like a cinematographer, and he did. There's actually, I don't know what happened to the documentary. He did a documentary on him and us and all of the thing. There is a documentary out there.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't seen it in years. I don't even know if I have a copy of it. Anyways, so I guess Angel was his name. Of course, Angel was his name.
Of course it was.
Yeah. Okay. He heard that the guy was coming to interview me, and basically he came. He was texting me and told the other guy was there. The other guy is like just this kind of nerdy guy, not super, and he was texting me that if I didn't let him in the door, that he was gonna beat the crap out of the guy, you know. So he ended up getting let. I ended up letting him in, and he was sitting next to me while I was being interviewed about everything, and it was so weird. It was so weird to watch because I remember, like, he was just sitting there. I think he was probably rolling a joint. I think he was like rolling a joint and just sitting there and basically watching. Like, what are you gonna say? Yeah. What do you know what I mean? And I couldn't say anything. I couldn't be open up at all. And yeah. After that, though, my fight was completely gone. Really? He actually didn't have to be. That was the last time he. Well, this is the second to last time he put hands on me, because at that point he had literally beaten me into submission. That I just was a shell of myself. Whatever he wanted, whatever it didn't matter. He didn't need to put hands on me anymore because I was just compliant at that point. But I would sit and look out the window and try to figure out how the hell I was going to get. And I still didn't want to fucking ask for help. I still did not. I don't, that, so stupid because I so easily could have gotten out of that situation if I had just surrounded myself with people that were, I mean, because there's people around, but it was his friends, you know what I mean? And people that weren't going to help me, and I don't know, it stayed like that for a couple of years.
You mentioned he was on drugs. Were you also doing drugs at this time?
Oh yeah. I he I have like 6 herniated discs in my back. I had to have my spine fused after that incident. That's this scar is here. Um, I was walking with a cane.
All from him.
Yes, I couldn't. Before I had this surgery. I couldn't like lay flat. I had to sleep sitting up. And I just I don't. Sorry, I lost track of what I was gonna say. No, it's okay. I do that. My brain wanders.
I interrupt and ask so many questions.
No, you're fine. I don't know, but yeah, he didn't. I don't know. Go back to where I was. I guess I think I was. He didn't have to put hands on me.
Right.
Blah blah blah. But probably about I don't know. It was the end. The very last time he put hands on me. I was getting up, or I was leaving. I was leaving for work, and I must have said something smart. Like I must have mouthed off somehow as I was walking through the door, or was about to go to open the door, and he went to grab me by the throat. He was gonna start choking me, but the girls were standing there. So he just ended up going like this and like pushing me back into. He let go, so he just pushed me back, and I just smiled and I left for work. I went down the road a little ways, parked my car, and I finally called for help.
Who did you call?
I called my mom. She was here. She was living in Barstow with my brother. And I just I don't even remember what I don't I think told her like, Mom, it's bad. I need out of here. I got to get out of here. And she said okay, and immediately bought me 4 plane tickets to come from St. Louis to here. After that got settled, I called the police. They escorted me back to the house. They arrested him, and I packed everything that me and those little girls could carry and left that life behind, like completely.
I have to stop you for 1 second. Did he not keep you in a garage?
No, that's a whole nother story.
It is.
That's has nothing to do with him.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh my gosh. Are we getting to that? Is that
yes.
Okay.
That happens here in California.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. We got some talking to do. Okay.
I know my story is long. Sorry.
I'm good with that. Are you kidding me? My last one was 3 hours, so we're good.
Oh.
We're good.
But
this is your water too. I gave you water if you need it.
Oh, thank you. What?
So your mom, you went to the house and you and the girls were carrying whatever you could carry.
Yeah, and we flew here. I packed up what I could. I worked at. I was a lab manager at Lens Crafters. I made glasses at the time, and I went to Lens Crafters, requested an emergency transfer, but I beat my transfer here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Requested an emergency transfer to here to the Victorville store.
Okay.
And yeah, just left. I assumed that they were going to just release him immediately like they always had before. They just he would spend a day in jail and then he would be back out. So that's why we moved so quickly. But they actually didn't. They actually, um, uh, like were pressing like serious charges.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. It was six. He had been in the jail for like 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I was here, uh, and the district attorney call. I This is one thing I regret. I really regret. Um, the district attorney called me, and they needed me to come back and testify, and I wouldn't go back.
That would have been maybe just too hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Were you afraid if you went back you wouldn't get out again?
I think that was, even though I knew it wasn't logical. I had left. I had finally left. Yes. I didn't. I had tried to leave before, but we were always local, so we'd always find his way back in, and it was just I needed to move across the country, and I could not bring myself to go back. So they ended up releasing. He was going to do some like serious prison time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they ended up releasing him, and I regret that because he goes on to abuse quite a few more women. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last time my kids tried to look him up, they just tried to Google him just to see. Just to see, who he was or whatever. And my God loves me sometimes. What came up was a news article um, about a manhunt looking for him for beating up a woman who was holding a baby. Yeah, and I never had to. They never looked for him again. They never. The I didn't have to tell them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, they knew that we had to leave. They knew to some degree it was bad, that he was abusive and things like that. But that news article kind of solidified it. Like, oh, mom's not making it up. Right. But yeah, we came here, and you would think that we were safe and all was well, but unfortunately, I was so traumatized. I could not. I couldn't function. I couldn't. Um, I was abusing my pain medicine still, and I came here. I think I had a friend somewhere. I started doing a lot of just really risky things, meeting people, places, and going to parties and whatnot. Just
who had your kids at this time? Maybe your mom?
My mom.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just put them to sleep and then take off. Um, and yeah, I was just doing anything I could to not feel. Yeah, sure. I didn't want to. I did not want to be in my own skin, and that's where the garage thing happens. Mm-hmm. Is I decide to go to a party down in Escondido. Mm-hmm. I was all over the freaking place, and I drank so much. I don't remember what happened, but from what I understand is um, a couple of the guys drugged me, and they that's when I ended up in the garage. I was stuck in that garage for about 30 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they were shooting me up with meth, and like it was so much meth though that like when they would do it, I would like literally go blind. Like all I could see was white. I remember like trying to get up, trying to move, and I couldn't. Like I was so just I had no ability to do anything. But that's where that's.
How did you get out of that situation? The garage.
Um, I think honestly, I was strung out on meth, so the brain is,
For sure.
Because for a while I thought that I thought that they were like debating on killing me, and I think the one guy was supposed to, and and it was just this thing. Again, I'm strung out on meth, so who knows what's actually happening. Exactly. But I kind of remember all that, and then one day, the keys to my car just became available. They were just sitting on the washer.
Really?
Yeah.
And they were not before.
Yeah. Oh no, they weren't. And I was just able to leave. I didn't. So what I rationalized was someone was supposed to kill me, but nobody was able to. Yeah. So they just was like, just let her go. Yeah, just go, just get out.
So these 30 days ish that you were in this garage, your kids were with your mom.
I was a missing person.
Okay, so she did search for you, and no one found you.
No one would find me. No one did find me. Actually, I called. Because when I got out of that situation, one, I was already strung out on drugs, and two, at least my brain rationalized that, one more time, like, what kind of woman am I? Like this, like I just allow these horrible things to happen to me. I'm just like a horrible representation of a woman. My kids would be better off without me, so I chose to be homeless.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So the kids were with your mom.
Okay. And it wouldn't be until 6 months later that I would get arrested and call my mom that they knew I was alive. I was a missing person for 6 months. Yeah.
They found you?
No,
you called somebody. You
said I called them. I called my mom when I went to jail, of course.
Okay. And then how long were you in jail?
That's it. My mom immediately bailed me out.
And then she came and got you?
I don't. Yes. Okay. They came and got me, but I don't remember. I ended up going back down. Oh, because I wasn't supposed to leave the county or whatever, because I was so I ended up going back down, and my parents didn't quite know that I was strung out on drugs yet. Okay. So they just kind of let me go. Thought I was able to like rent a room for a short period of time, but I was able to rent a room or whatever, and I ended up back down there just doing what I do. But then I would get arrested again. They'd bail me out again. And then I would still be like, oh, I can't, Mom, I can't go because I have to stay in this county. I don't even know if that was true. Right? Just what I was saying.
Right. It was easier for you.
And then it wasn't until she bailed me out twice. And then on the third time, her friends convinced her to stop bailing me out. And yeah. And she left me there. And that was the thing that saved my life.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If she had continued to enable me,
Right.
I would have just kept running and running and running. Like, you know,
So you got clean in jail?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got clean in jail. I was in there for 4 months or so. And I remember the day, it was probably like no, it was actually towards the end. Maybe I was only in there 3 months. It was towards the end of my time there, but I had been clean for a few months, and I actually was a trustee. Like, I worked for the, I did things which gave me more freedoms and liberty. Like, I didn't have to lock down when everybody else had to go to their cells or whatever. And so I would sit out in the day room and just draw or write or do things. And I guess there was this girl that came in, and she was a heroin addict. So she had been like just kind of staying in her room for a week or two, just kicking, just being sick and all of that. But I guess she was watching me, like she would look down and see me just doing random things or whatever. When she finally came out of her cell, she came down to my table and sat next to me, um, and just started talking to me. And at first, she started talking about using drugs and glorifying drugs and all of that. And at some point, she started talking about preparing uh, preparing the drugs for use. And I remember when she started talking about that, I felt myself salivate.
Really?
Yeah. And I already had a degree in psychology, so I knew that, like, okay, my body just fucking responded without, like, it just responded. I knew then that I had a problem, just at the idea of it, that made me realize I had a problem. And then, if you know people that are in early recovery,
I have a brother right now who's actually this very minute detoxing off heroin and fentanyl. So I do understand.
Yeah, but they're super emotional. You know what I mean, in the beginning, especially like when you first come down, and like all the things that you've been running from just start to kind of hit you. So she starts talking about how her children won't speak to her. They haven't. She's been, choosing drugs and men over her children for 15 years, and they won't. Blah blah. Just this whole story. And for some reason, like, I believe God put that woman in my life, because not only did she show me I was an addict and that I had a problem, but she showed me my future. I knew when I listened to her, I knew that if I continued to do what I was doing, that I was going to be her.
Yeah, sure, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. And that happened a couple of weeks, actually, I think, before I got out of jail. In San Diego, I don't know if they do this here. I don't even know if they still do this in San Diego, but the sentences, like, my sentence was 180 days in jail and 180 days in a program.
Oh, for some people they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you only serve, like, I think half, 3-4 months of that. So they released me to go straight to treatment, like the uh, a public defender, picked me up at jail and took me to the treatment center. And I didn't know anything about treatment. I didn't know anything about 12 steps. I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew that I needed to do something different.
You wanted to be off.
Yeah.
You were done.
Yeah. I knew I needed to do something different. And in that treatment center, I found a new way to live. You know, we had to attend a lot of classes and groups and like clinicians would do different like groups based on different disorders and so and would talk about different things like bipolar disorder and PTSD and I started to like things started to click like oh this is why this is it and I got medication management to control my bipolar disorder, and I started to do some treatment, some therapy, but that place kind of just put me on the right path. And when I came back up here, I still didn't really know what I was doing, and I still didn't have the ability to function because like I still have the same trauma, actually more now,
Yeah, now you're in prison or jail.
Yeah, I have more trauma. So I still did not know how to function, but they told me in there that people that if you go to a meeting, people who go to meetings stay clean. And you need to they would say you need to go to a meeting in the first 24 hours of being released, and then 90 meetings in 90 days. And I just did all of that. And actually I did a meeting every day probably for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Because I wasn't doing much else. I was mostly, I found a therapist, I found a psychiatrist, I started working on my trauma and doing things in my life to make changes. And I slowly started taking responsibility for my children back, just all of those things. It was a really slow, long process, but
was your mom helpful?
Oh, my mom was absolutely helpful.
She was. So she never gave up on you.
No.
Thank God.
This woman, let me tell you.
Tell me. I want to hear about your mom.
When I disappeared, and she didn't know what happened to me, if I was coming back, nothing. Because she didn't want my kids to have a negative view of me.
These are good tears. This is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just told them that I went away to school.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Do your kids know what has happened with you?
Now they do.
Okay.
Now they do. Just slowly over the years, because my mom really wanted to uphold that lie. She didn't want them to know anything about anything. I didn't particularly care. I get like not. I mean, age appropriate, but I didn't.
I think our generations are very different.
Yeah.
Our parents are more. I don't know if secretive is the word, but
you keep
the
yeah.
And I
absolutely.
think our generation is much more vocal. And I hope our kids' generation is even more vocal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, she just had that. I don't know how she would. I don't know if I could have done it. I don't know if I could have held myself together and took care of these kids and they made sure that my kids did not miss out on anything. Like my mom would do things that she never would have done for us. She became, this super mom, like preparing, cutting them up apples at night, like just trying to make sure that they never felt like they were missing something. Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah. I think the reason I am able to have such a good relationship with my children
Mm-hmm.
is because of that. Is because my mom never let them think that I left them, that I abandoned them, that I did something wrong. She never, none of that. She protected my reputation with them.
And she could have been so ugly,
Yeah.
God bless her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Is your mom still with us?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you, and you're close with her?
Oh yeah. Every Sunday I take my mom to church, and then I do all the chores that she needs done around the house, and then we do karaoke. Like,
so you guys have a good relationship.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's which is interesting because my whole life my mom and I could only scream at each other.
Oh.
We did not get along. I didn't trust her. I didn't uh, my dad was manipulative, and he would make me feel like I couldn't trust her. He would tell me I couldn't tell her things, and just kind of pitted us against each other. Just more abusive man crap, you know what I mean? Like, it just stupid stuff. So I always hated my mom. Um, when I started having kids, no, I didn't hate her, but we just couldn't ever get along. You know what I mean? Like, we just seemed to always end up screaming at each other.
It's sad because it's very common with mothers and daughters.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and I didn't have the best relationship when I was growing up either.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's really sad, but it's so common.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's we're so much alike that we just bumped heads. I don't know what it is. But it is a thing.
I don't know. As I observe it now, as a marriage and family therapist, right. What I think happens is it's a parent's fault. It Parents allow pride and ego to drive their decisions, and they don't, like, children are supposed to incrementally gain independence, you know what I mean, and they're supposed to step out further and further and further, as they progress into adulthood. They're supposed to kind of be able to test waters and come back and do all these kinds of things. But we have these parents that you're going to say you're going to do what I say when I say it, and you're going to obey me, all of that shit. That, why?
I know.
Why?
But isn't it great that we did learn? We have changed that, right? Because our kids don't have to, and it's not just you and I, it is our generation, truly.
Yeah.
I see so many people our age, my age. I don't know, how old are you?
46.
Okay, so I'm 50, but in a couple weeks I'll be 51. So yeah, same age.
Yeah.
So yeah, same thing. I love it. Yeah. I love that we got it. We don't want to be like that. And I'm not dogging our parents either, because I think that's how they were taught.
Yeah, they didn't know any better.
Yeah. But for many years, I did blame my mom. But then when I went to therapy, not you, it was first with Brian and then with you, and you both helped me tremendously with my mom and my relationship, because I feel like we had that same sort of relationship. I just think that they're just humans, and they do what they know or what they were taught.
That's it. That there's enough there's so much knowledge that gets passed around now with the internet, and we have so much access to things that where before you were just kind of confined to your family,
100%.
and that was all you knew and all you understood. Now we can see that, oh, people don't live like that. Oh, people react this way and not that
Yes.
way. And oh, I can learn to do this or that. Like we can learn emotional regulation. We can learn how to communicate. We can learn all of these things that we weren't taught. We're learning them as adults.
Yep.
We I still screw up sometimes, but fortunately my kids give me grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do too, thank God. I'm not the kind of mom that doesn't say I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I say I'm sorry a lot, because we do mess up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually not that hard to not have conflict with your kids if you're just willing to allow everything a child knows in this world has to be taught to them by their parents. So if a child doesn't have a skill, it's because you didn't teach it to them. You know what I mean? Like they're lacking it because you didn't follow through on your responsibilities. And the I don't know, just the you're gonna do that's all pride and ego, right? I'm gonna prove to you I'm the one with the power. I'm gonna of course I'm the one with I have all the fucking money. Like I make all the decisions. I have the power. I don't need to prove that. I don't need to make somebody jump and do circles and all kinds of crap to prove that I have control, because I do have control. I don't that's what it's so freaking weird. Like, what, you let your if okay, that's what I was saying. We have to teach it to them, but not only do we have to teach our children, oh, you should have a voice, stand up for yourself, voice your opinions, blah blah blah, all of those things. We also have to be a safe place for them to practice those things. So that means you have to listen to your kid argue why they think that that's not fair, or that, you know what I mean? And if they make a legit argument, you have to say, oh, I didn't think about that. But a lot of parents, they can't. I don't know, that it hits their ego in a way that doesn't allow them.
Chest beaters, you know what I mean? They are. I'm so glad we're not.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're not. And we could have been.
Yeah.
We could have been, but we learned.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't. That's. Oh. Yeah. Trauma recovery. Yeah.
It was meant to be. So.
It just, trauma recovery. I now have like 10.5 years clean.
Do you have cravings still?
Not really.
Good.
I mean, my addiction shows up in other ways. It's not really substances. Okay. I can shop like nobody's business. You know what I mean?
I do. That is part of it, though. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it comes up like that. It doesn't. It's not really substances.
I think we all have something.
I would never want that life back. There is nothing that is good enough out there that would make me give up the life I have today. It just absolutely not.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. So you've learned from it, obviously.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It's like, so I know this of you, and I'm the same way. I feel like you and I both believe that we go through everything for a reason, right? So you going through that has helped you. It has had to help you with your career.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, I know you helped me because of your past. I know that because you had examples that I understood.
Yeah.
So I do believe we go through everything. I believe everything is a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn it. If we don't learn it, we're going to go through it over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll say, like, you know, okay, God, like, I don't want to keep doing this, you know, like, help me, bring it to light so I don't have to do it anymore.
Mm.
Um, if you had somebody come to you right now and say to you, like, I'm being abused and I don't know what to do, what would you, what would you give? What would you say to them? What would your suggestion be?
I mean, would probably direct them to a domestic violence shelter, because they would be able to help them, you know, find a place, get away, you know.
There is help
If
out there.
yeah, if they're not really quite ready for that, I would tell them to start stockpiling money, like putting away money that only you have access to, that you know that nobody knows, because if you have to run, if you need to do something, you know, you need to have access to some cash or whatever. But yeah, I mean, but a domestic violence shelter is going to tell them all of that. There are so many resources that are available for people, but unfortunately, most of the time, those places only get um, utilized by the severely abused people like myself. You know, um, I work with so many women that endure emotional and psychological abuse all day long, and I just kind of, for them, I let them know. I'll clearly let them know that I think it's freaking stupid that they're tolerating it, but
yes, at the because you but that's what I love about you. That's what I loved about you.
Yeah.
I feel like you helped me a lot because you are what I want to be when I'm talking to when I'm life coaching. I don't want to pussyfoot around anything, and I don't want to sugarcoat anything. You're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that of you.
Yeah, but at the same time, I will also say, but you know what? We're ready when we're ready. Yeah, exactly. And exactly. There is nobody's going to be able to tell someone that it's time to leave. They'll leave when it's time to leave, and until they make that decision, I will be there to support them and listen to them, and you know, help them build the strength to leave if they are, you know, if they find sometimes some, I don't know, everybody has different values, right? Like everybody has different needs in life. Some people just want to some women just, because of financial stability or whatever, they are willing to tolerate a little bit, you know, more abuse than other, you know, because they feel like they can't provide or whatever. So like, who am I to say? I don't think I don't say you're stupid. I say more, um like, you know, that's abuse, right? Like you know, like that people aren't supposed to talk to you like that, you know, kind of thing. Just pointing it out more than anything.
And I think people need to be. I don't think people realize half the time that they're being abused.
Oh, most of the time.
Yeah, I fully believe that.
Yeah,
you know,
especially if people, for some reason, unless there is severe physical or sexual abuse, they do not register it as abuse at all. It's just, I mean, it's part of our culture. Like, we live in, unfortunately, an abuse culture, like that protects predators, unfortunately.
It's so sad, but it is so true.
Yeah. um uh,
So you have your girls, you have your kids,
mm-hmm.
you are doing fabulous for yourself.
Yes. Yes. I have my private practice now. I have more clients than I can take care of at any one time. I have other therapists working for me. I'm just working towards creating my little trauma center that I want to create, because all of it, every last bit of my experience was dictated by the trauma that I experienced before it, right?
Yeah.
And every decision, we do not realize the extent to which our trauma impacts how we perceive things, the decisions we make, everything in this world is dictated by trauma, as you experience when you remove the trauma. It, like, decisions are a lot different, you know. Yeah.
So different. Okay, so I know we're coming to an end, but I do have a couple more questions. So you are married now,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yes.
How do you treat your husband? Like, are you, do you have a guard up? You know, because like, how was your relationship with him from the beginning when you met this husband, and how is it now?
um my husband was fortunately, I don't he had a lot of recovery. He On May 1st, he will take 35 years clean. So he's got a lot of experience with recovery and, like, healing yourself and processing trauma, and he's done a lot of it before me. So he was able to be really patient with me. He never demanded my time. He never, like, for the first year, I would only see him every other weekend, unless I saw him at a meeting or whatever. But I would only go out with him every other weekend, because I had started going to school. I was building a relationship with my mom. I was building a relationship with my kids. Last thing I needed to do was go running around all the freaking time. We saw where that got me the last time.
Yeah, right. But
So
I love that you were that strict, like with yourself. Like, this is, I'm not going to put myself in this position ever again.
yes,
Did you meet him in?
Yes, in the rooms. Well, it's interesting. Um, After I did my EMDR trauma stuff, I decided that I wanted to be or I decided that I wanted to help addicts. I decided that I wanted to work with recovering addicts.
Okay.
I didn't know uh, what I should do, because I already had a bachelor's degree, started working on part of a master's degree. So drug and alcohol counseling seemed like a step backwards. Gotcha. You know what I mean? I had more education than was required for uh, that certificate. So my sponsor at the time told me to go find him, because he not only does he have a lot of his own personal recovery, he was a program manager for a facility for 25 years, and had been working with addicts for 25 years at that time. So she is like, you know what, you need to go talk to this guy. He'll be able to tell you, what your options are or whatever. So I found him, and very awkwardly asked him what I should do, and he's like, oh, you need to become an MFT. Like, if you're an MFT, you can work in treatment facilities, you can do all the things, but you're going to make a lot more money doing it, kind of thing. And that's what kicked me off to start going to school and stuff like that. That happened earlier on. He actually ended up writing me a letter of recommendation to get into school, because I was crying in a meeting that I needed 3 letters of recommendation, but I didn't have anybody to ask. I didn't have any relationships anywhere. to ask anybody. He ended up writing me a letter of recommendation. We wouldn't start dating for probably, I think, like a year later or whatever.
Is he older than you?
Yeah, he is old. 54.
Okay. Oh, not much older.
No,
but
no.
Some. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Though.
Well, I call my husband old man, and he's only 2 years older than me. So
yeah. But yeah, so for the first year, I would only see him. I had all this stuff going on, and then the second year, I would see him weekly. But after I didn't introduce him to my children for that first year, yeah, then I started introducing him to my kids. So I would let him take me out. He would take me out every week, but every other week my kids were with us. Okay. So like we would get private time still just every other week, and then we would spend time with the kids every other week. And we did that for a year or so. And then I don't know what motivated us. We just decided to move in together eventually. Like,
really?
Yeah, okay. After all of that, it's kind of a long process. For kind of realized that I could move in with him. But yeah, he has always been super just patient with me. Like even in early recovery, when I guess he knew, he had experience with what like early recovery looks like, and why I would be confused about who I am, and what I need in life, and how those things change. And he's always just kind of been supportive and just telling me to do me, you know what I mean? He doesn't demand my time. He has never asked to be number one in my life. And he shouldn't be, right? Because my kids come before him. I don't know, maybe my career. I don't know. Family, there's a lot of my recovery comes before him. There's a lot of other things that come before him, and he understands that that's actually the right way to, he you see so many men, they want to be number one, and it's like, no, you can't be. Yeah, that's not for a healthy relationship, especially with a woman with children and career and dreams. And because our dreams are important, if we have no purpose in life, then we're lost.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know people get annoyed with me. I see it. Or they'll be like, "What are you doing now?" Well, I just can't sit back and do nothing. You know what I mean? I know that there's so much more in my life. I'm already 50. I don't have a lot of time, but there's so much more that I know that I have to do. So I don't want to just sit back and do nothing. I love every single thing that I do, and I feel that there's a purpose behind it. Okay, so do you and him get along well?
Absolutely, yes.
You do.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I didn't even know that relationships like this were possible. I didn't know that your partner should be able to regulate your nervous system, right? Like I was accustomed to my nervous system being activated and in defense and all of this stuff when I was around a partner. It's with my husband though, all of my defenses relax. I know that I do not have to defend myself because he's got me. You know what I mean? Like when he hugs me, it quiets my mind. Sometimes at night, if my head is running about something, I'll just reach over and put my hand on his shoulder, and just to calm myself down. He brings me peace, which I didn't know was possible. Yeah. I didn't know that men like him existed. I thought that men were just abusive assholes, like that. I didn't know that they could be kind and loving and all of those things. I didn't know that. Um, we don't fight, which is interesting because, and this is one of the things that I love about him. I really didn't have a personality of my own so much when I first got clean because I didn't know what I believed. With all of the trauma and everything, I didn't know what my opinions were on anything, you know. And I just kind of aligned with mainstream traditional culture, you know, at first, and I would go on to do a lot of things um, that changed me from being this really conservative person to being extremely liberal person.
Okay.
He's very conservative.
Is he?
Yes.
Well, they do say opposites attract, and I swear that's true.
Yeah, yeah, and it's. I mean, we don't talk about politics. It's just, we
better not to.
We know it's just going to end up in an argument. So why are we doing it like that? That's just ridiculous. So as long as politics doesn't come up, we're golden. You know, it just.
And I love that you know that. Like, why would we talk about that? It's going to bring us to an argument. Why even talk about it?
Yeah. It's going to make me not like you. Right. Like, I
for sure. I love that. I love that. I really do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just so happy that I don't know. I'm just so happy that you got out of it. I'm so happy your kids are safe and they didn't get hurt. I'm so thankful for your mom. You know what I mean? Like, right? Come on. Was your dad in the picture?
My dad is complicated. Okay. He was very abusive when I was younger, mostly emotionally, psychologically abusive and manipulative and things like that. Once I became an adult, though, those things, like, he couldn't really do those things anymore. I was an adult. And so the things that he did, he just stopped doing them.
Because it wasn't working
anymore. Yeah.
You're like, I'm not that kid.
Yeah. So, so my dad is around. He's my dad. Yeah. You know, he's apologized to me on numerous occasions for the things that he did in the past. And
have you been able to forgive him?
I don't know.
Not 100%.
I don't know. I'm not 100% certain that I have